Welcome to this explainer. Today we're unpacking a truly fascinating concept that lives right at the intersection of human psychology and hardcore product design. We're going to explore how the most subtle, unspoken human emotions can literally be engineered and coded into successful, market-dominating products. It's an incredible journey from subjective feeling to objective math.
To kick things off, I want you to think about your absolute favorite product right now. It could be your car, your smartphone, or even just a jacket you wear all the time. Now ask yourself, do you love it purely because of its functional specs, its microchips, or its price tag? Probably not. In today's market, purchasing decisions are rarely just about logic. They're heavily driven by how a product actually makes us feel. Okay, let's dive right into this. Here is our roadmap for the explainer. We're going to define what Kansei Engineering actually is, look at the strategic benefits, break down the methodology, explore some killer real-life examples, and finally, check out its integration with modern tech. Starting off with Section 1, what is Kansei Engineering and the whole concept of emotion-driven design? So the term Kansei comes from Japan, and its philosophical roots trace all the way back to the 19th century. In its essence, Kansei refers to sensory perception and pure experience. It's that psychological reality where human feelings and impressions always trigger before our logical thought even kicks in. You know when you look at an object and instantly feel that it's elegant or sturdy before you can even explain why? Well, that is Kansei. Fast forward to the 1970s, and a visionary pioneer named Professor Mitsuo Nagamachi from Hiroshima University turned this abstract concept into a rigorous engineering discipline. He defined Kansei Engineering as the technological translation of a person's feelings into concrete design elements. Basically, he built a bridge between art, psychology, and manufacturing. Look, traditional engineering focuses strictly on utility, right? Does it work? Is it safe? Is the price right? But emotion-driven design, which is what Kansei Engineering is all about, recognizes that just being functional isn't enough anymore. It focuses on feelings, aesthetics, and subjective expectations. It bridges that critical gap between how a product works technically and how it makes you feel personally. Which brings us to Section 2, strategic benefits. Let's talk about why emotions actually matter for the business side of things.
So why should product managers care? Because getting this right has a massive impact on the bottom line. By applying this framework, companies see dramatic cost reductions and error mitigation. Why? Because you're accurately mapping user desires before you ever hit the manufacturing floor, completely avoiding those costly prototype redesigns. And when you get the emotional design right the first time, you naturally unlock higher customer satisfaction and deep, organic brand loyalty.
Moving right along to Section 3, the 6-step methodology. Let's look at the actual steps to success here. Here is the highly structured 6-step methodology that seamlessly converts a vague feeling into a precise manufacturing blueprint. First, you define your product domain. Second, you build a semantic space to gather the adjectives describing those desired emotions. Third, you deconstruct those into a property space, mapping physical traits. Fourth is data collection. Fifth, you run advanced statistical analysis on that data. And finally, step 6 is validation, just to ensure those feelings were accurately engineered. Let's zoom in on steps 2 and 3, because honestly, this is where the magic happens. A design team takes abstract Kansei words like sporty or luxurious and maps them directly to a property space. So, how do you make a car look sporty? The data might show it needs an elongated front grille. How do you make a train cabin feel luxurious? The data might point directly to a teakwood texture or an emerald green color palette. You are literally deconstructing an adjective into a physical trait. Then, to gather that data in step 4, engineers use what's called a semantic differential scale. You just take opposite adjectives, like modern on one side and outdated on the other, and put them on a 1 to 5 scale. Users then evaluate different prototypes along this scale. This is exactly how the subjective, messy world of human feelings gets captured and locked in as objective, numerical data that an engineer can actually use. Section 4. Real-life examples. Let's see Kansei in action.
You've probably heard of Mazda's Zoom Zoom concept, right? Well, that is Kansei Engineering in its purest form. They used these exact principles to develop that iconic campaign. They weren't just engineering a machine to get you from point A to point B. No, they were explicitly engineering the vehicle's design, steering, and interior to evoke the pure joy, excitement, and dynamism of driving. They essentially measured the emotion of joy and built a car around it.
But it definitely doesn't stop at cars. The versatility of this methodology is wild. In consumer electronics, it's used to design smartphones that feel sleek and highly innovative, yet totally comfortable and intuitive. It's being used in digital advertising to tune the speed and motion of animations to evoke trust. It's even being used in architecture to design university classrooms with lighting and sightlines that emotionally prime students for learning.
Finally, Section 5, integration with other tools. Let's look at how advanced tech plays into all of this.
Kansei Engineering might have been born in the 70s, but right now it is getting a massive 21st century upgrade. We're talking artificial intelligence and neural networks instantly processing millions of consumer reviews to identify trending Kansei words. Virtual reality is letting companies create immersive digital prototypes to test user emotions incredibly cheaply. And biometric tools, like eye tracking and EEG brainwave monitors, they're being used to objectively validate that a user is genuinely emotionally aroused by a design, which completely bypasses the biases of a standard survey.
So, to wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with one final, provocative thought. We've seen how emotions can be quantified, mapped, and built right into the very fabric of our everyday objects. The next time you're developing a project, a service, or a product, ask yourself this: do your products just function, or do they truly connect? Because in a world where everything works, the things that survive are the things we feel. Thanks so much for joining me on this deep dive, and I definitely encourage you to look at the world around you with a new, emotion-driven lens.